This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to today's edition of the Pitstop, where you are the real star of today's show, because you are the pit crew, and you are the ones who make doing this show fun and worthwhile, because if we couldn't talk about the stories, it'd be pretty boring around here. So we are here to talk about sim racing news for Thursday, February 8th, 2018, and, you know, I'm going to confess with you guys, when I first started doing the pit stop, I had some behind-the-scenes conversations with people saying, oh, I don't know, 5 days is going to work. You know, you might not have stories. And I thought, well, a 4-minute show, who cares? It won't be a big deal. I can do it. They said, well, maybe you should do 2 or 3 days a week. And as it turns out, we have had a lot to talk about each and every day. And I got to tell you, it gets better and better. And it gets more fun. And I know we take some diversions in our topics. It's not always 100% sim racing related. But we don't stray beyond gaming or automotive culture, so we do stay within certain boundaries with the show as well. I also want to thank all you guys once again. I thank you guys a lot, but I want to thank you all again. The pit crew, everybody here watching the show, you're part of the pit crew, the patron group, the guys who just, they go the extra mile, and they're really helping out. It's so much more than just the patron support, but it is the behind-the-scenes work. It's like the team is growing and growing, and I got to tell you, I'm having the best time ever. Been doing this for 10 years, and I am having the most fun ever doing it. And a big part of it is the community and the interaction with people and everything that's coming as a result of what we're doing now. So anyway, that's the end of my spiel, my opening statement, letting you know how I feel about things. But thank you guys for sending in stories all the time. All of you. I get so many, I can't even name everybody and keep up with it. But it's why the show has gotten better each and every day. So what do we have to talk about today? First up, and again, as usual, I'll blow through certain topics. We'll stick around for other topics, and if you want to talk in detail, you just chat amongst yourselves or let me know in the chat here. But RFactor 2, this is at their Twitter feed, and they have a hot lap competition going on, and I like hot laps. The reason I like hot laps is because it allows you to really perfect your skills. And racing is one thing, but you're racing against others. Hot lapping, you're racing against yourself. And it also is a great way to see where you stand against others, win, lose, or draw. But basically, they're doing 2 competitions, one in the Mclaren, the Renault, and the other in the Radical. And I'm pretty sure I said Radical correctly. So if you are interested in doing that, winners are fast times are going to win a pack. I'm assuming they mean a game pack, some part of their DLC, one of the things they charge for, as a prize. So that is very good. Very good. Ah, monster truck. Yes, that's coming. That's coming. Dilly dilly, everyone. On Rush. So we clowned on them a little bit, but in all seriousness, they are going to do a midweek rush with some answers to some questions from the community. So if this is a game that you've been interested in, want to know, and want to send their questions into them, maybe you can get them answered, you can go ahead and check it out on Rush. Mclaren, thank you, Roadhog. I'm pretty sure that's no better than how I'm doing it. Next up, World's Fast Gamer. Not a lot to test, but here's another picture of Rudy at McLaren in the VO2 max test. I'm assuming that's some sort of oxygen, O2, VO2. Is that viscosity of oxygen, velocity of oxygen? Not sure, but you can see they are torturing poor Rudy. So some of the jobs got to be great. Some of the jobs got to be miserable, but I'm pretty sure I detect a smile under that mask. I don't think they're pushing him that hard in the worst of ways. Oh, it's that. You can't just give us an empty plug. If you're going to plug, you at least have to tell us the relevance of Empty Box's latest video. Just a blank ad. That's not very entertaining or enticing. Oh my, I'm just seeing a picture that came up on the Discord channel with our patron group, and it's rather funny. Thank you, Wolfgang. Anyway, okay. Magon. Yeah, that's what I thought. I always called it the Magani, and then I think Magon was Magon, not Megan. Anyway, alright, so poor Rudy. Anyway, he's getting a great time. Maximum oxygen consumption. Thank you, Bryce. Volume of oxygen. There you go, ARB. Now we're talking. So that's what they're doing to poor Rudy there at McLaren. And that takes us to things that we've talked about in our own sim racing world. I got to get a heart rate monitor. I'm dying to know. I'm scared to know what the results would be there. Next up, and this will be of big interest to everybody out there, at the Fanatec blog, Fanatec, both are correct in this case, and I know that for a fact from Thomas himself. But at the Fanatec website, you will find an update on what's going on. So the McLaren GT3 wheel was delayed, some electrostatic issues that they are dealing with. The Podium direct drive wheelbase also delayed. Looks like they're shooting for summer, just so you can get an idea when they're going to be coming out. And then the full implementation of the CSL Elite Racing wheel in GTS Blue mode, is also in their fine-tuning stage. So yeah, it does look like a fighter pilot. About pointless practice. Interesting. I'm going to have to check that out. That's a great topic, and when I get a chance to talk to an alien, I often talk to them about how much time they put in. And not sure if that's relevant to what he's talking about, but thank you for that. It's that. Next up, TT Isle of Man. We've seen so many photos. We've seen so many of little clips, little teases, the bikes and whatnot. We finally have a gameplay video. And so, if you want to see what it's going to like, I've watched it. I can't wait. March 6th is the Xbox and PS4 release. March 27th, unfortunately, for PC users. If I can't be comfortable with my steering wheel, I might be just fine playing that on the Xbox or the PS4, to be honest with you. Alright, moving right along. This is an article that made me think about Monday Fun Day, and always on the search for the next game that will offer laughs and laughs and fun and good times. Monster Truck. This here's an image here of Monster Truck. Jam. What's the one? Monster Truck Madness was the one I played way back when. Anyway, there's a handful of Monster Truck games. This, I swear, looks just like Madness, if I'm not mistaken. But they went on a search for a great Monster Truck game, and instead they came up with these titles here. And it's actually kind of surprising to me with the popularity of Monster Truck that games in the Monster Truck genre aren't more popular. When I used to play Monster Truck Madness, there was an event called King of the Mountain, or King of the Hill. I think it was King of the Mountain. And you basically just bounced other trucks off the mountain to try to get the most time on top. And for me, I love doing that event, and it actually reminded me a lot of Wreckfest that we did this last Monday. Monster Truck Madness in the 90s, Falcon. I love that game. You know, I think I actually played that before I even owned a steering wheel, or it must have support, because I distinctly remember using a Microsoft Sidewinder joystick to play Monster Truck Madness. And I loved, and I do mean love, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that game actually had decent multiplayer for the time. And that made it even more fun, because you could do the whole King of the Mountain thing against others. It was really, really a quality game for what it was. I swear this image looks like Monster Truck Madness to me, even though they're saying Monster Jam Battlegrounds. We talked about that yesterday, Angel. Thank you. Yeah, Seto Land. That looked like quite a resource. I didn't know, and I wasn't aware if it was like legal or illegal content, so I'm not passing any judgment. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Shots fired, Simcade. Yeah, well, most of them have been, and quite honestly, if I was a game developer, I would be absolutely making this in the Simcade arcade area, because that's who the end user is probably most likely to be. I don't see a lot of demand from the sim racing community. Spatial, and I wonder if Spin Tires is going to get better. Spin Tires is one I'm considering for Monday Fun Day, actually, if we don't repeat. I think I want to keep moving on, and we'll come back to some titles. Anyway, let's move along, or we're going to be here all day, and as you guys know, if you watch in the chat, John Hill is on his way over here. So, anyway, Kent State, that's a college here in the United States, they are looking to launch an esports program. So, that's all I'm going to say. If you want to check out the article, I do have the description, the link to it in the description of the show at thesimpit.com. If you go to the Simpit, you'll see the Monster Truck thumbnail. go there and you will have all the links to all of the topics we're talking on the show. So if you want to know, if you have a kid who's getting college age and maybe they can get in there and be part of this program. I mean, just think, in 10 years, it might not even take 10 years, being a pro gamer is going to be the equivalent financially and popularity to being a pro NFL player. That's my prediction in 10 years from now. Why not get your kids on that path while it's still young, while it's still not diluted by billions? Think of how hard it is to be a pro football player. And I'm not saying it's easy to be a pro gamer, but I don't think it's quite as evolved. It's just as cutthroat, but maybe not quite as evolved. John Hill, I don't think he'll be here for a good hour, to be honest with you. So we'd have to stay on the air for quite some time. I could spontaneously bring John Hill on the show today, not even let him know, and then do a question and answer with him. Let you guys tear up and have at John Hill. If you're interested in that, I'd be willing to do that. Maybe that's a patron-only perk. I'm not sure, but we'll have to. You guys chime in and let me know your thoughts there. Next up, Ben Q. If you don't know Ben Q, these guys are sort of known as being the gamers' monitors. The fastest refresh rate, the best resolution, very expensive monitors. And they have now introduced a monitor that is specifically built for esport. And there are two giveaways. Number one, look at these little blinders, little flaps. No, you're not going to screen cheat on me next to me. Forget that. And the other thing about it is that it has an amazing 240 hertz refresh rate, which is the fastest I think I've ever heard of. I have 144s, and I know that's pretty kick-ass. So, anyway, it's 240 frames per second consistently. So, does that mean that when I'm playing and iRacing tells me I'm getting 300 frames, that I'm reality only getting 144? Is hertz tied to frames per second? Don't know that fact. Don't know, but that's what they imply. Or if it's just random that those numbers are a coincidence that they're the same number. All right. Moving along. No drinking episode. I'm never doing that again. That was horrible. Mclaren has confirmed a Dell sponsorship deal. And this is an interesting deal because it seems to go beyond just a name on the car. But the Dell is going to be providing the equipment. This affects Rudy. Dell is going to be supplying the equipment for the simulators that Rudy will be then working on. So this is a big deal. And this is computers back in Formula 1 as sponsorship. So it is. So 140 is what we're tied to. That's excellent. That's very excellent. You can feel FPS you can't see. Well, and I think there's, just like many things in life, your whole world comes down to your lowest common denominator, or your lowest. When you look at all your factors, whatever your weakest link is going to be your cap. So, your frame rate is what your CPU or GPU might be spitting out, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's what you're doing or that your wheel is talking at that kind of speed as well. Next up, this is at Team VVV. They have a little more detail on Onrush. So I'm just going to go ahead and give them a plug. And, Diversion Day, Monday Fun Day. Tell me Onrush wouldn't be a great contender for Monday Fun Day. So that's why I keep talking about this game. I'm no sim elitist. I love my sims. And I also love my automotive driving games. And that includes explosions and grease slicks and missiles and all that kind of stuff as well. This is funny. This just is one of those articles that made me laugh. And I don't, before I even get into this, I'm not knocking any of the wheels. So please do not get me wrong. But here's IGN. IGN, the super gaming, website on Earth. And IGN does an article, The Best Racing Wheels. And cool, that's awesome. So then they go on to say Logitech, sure, granted. T300, sure, granted. TX, sure, granted. 920, Hori, meh, T300, different version, and that's it. So if you were going to write an article If you all of a sudden were hired by IGN to write an article on the best racing wheels, it doesn't say the best racing wheels under $300. Actually, Logitech under $400. I am not a wheel racist, but if I were going to write an article saying the best racing wheels, this is not my list. So very interested to hear what you guys think, what would be your top 3, top 4, top 5, if you had to write a best racing wheels list. And I'm not sure the writer of this article, by the way, just to clarify, Derek Walter, I don't know if he did or didn't drive every one of these, or if he's just giving you a brief on the wheels available. So in your top 3, I'm not even requiring that you've driven all 3. So it could just be in your opinion from what you've heard. What would be your top 3? Next up, this is another one that made me laugh my ass off this morning. Love this story. Real-life Mario Kart will be racing in Melbourne and Sydney this year, courtesy of Mushroom Racing. So just to cut to the chase, they are doing some kind of karting event, and you are literally going to have to dress up in costume in order to race. So you will dress up in costume as your favorite character and race dressed up at them. Races will feature multiple courses, and drivers will have the chance to win prizes by collecting stars. Anyway, very, very cool to think about what could be done incorporating gaming into reality, the opposite direction of what we normally see. ProSim, we've talked about that a little bit. I mean, I think that it's all a little blown out of proportion. I went on quite the rant on Scott Speed, and I don't think that was really blown out of proportion. It was more of his attitude than what he had done. We can all be accused of doing bad things. It's how you handle yourself afterward that I think is most critical. And that's where I don't think he handled himself very well. I think it's proper that he got banned. I think he's taken a well then screw you, I'll never come back approach, and I think that's a real shame. But I'm glad to see that iRacing, and I'm not surprised, by the way, that iRacing stepped up. It just required Nim Cross, the chief steward, being notified in the right direction. So, anyway, there you go. V-Ridge is an app that lets you play PC VR games on your smartphone. This is like, it's still in kind of work phase. It's not quite working yet. But this basically is an app that turns your phone into a working VR for your PC, obviously on the very cheap scale compared to going and buying a VR unit. So just an idea, or shows you when people think what they can do about it, you know, and how they can solve certain issues. But this could be cool. We all have cell phones, so an app giving us a VR wouldn't be a terrible thing. Moving right along, you guys, I got a lot to talk about. Article here, and I'm just bringing it up for thought. And the article is 2018 will make or break VR. And to an extent, I don't disagree with that statement. And the way, I think VR is here to stay. But I also think that it's vulnerable to dying as a fad if development and pricing doesn't keep up with enthusiasm, if that makes sense. But right now, VR is still a hot topic. And if higher resolution, lighter masks, better affordability, better results, if all that comes in a timely manner, it could really boom. And then that can allow more third-party development and so on and so on. If the next gen don't make that leap, or the price point doesn't become affordable, or a handful of other factors, it could end up being one of those things that people heard about, they tried it, maybe tried it, didn't try it, and then we just kind of stop talking about it and it goes away. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do in 2018 to seal their fate in gaming future, really. Another topic that's just kind of cool to know about, Grand Theft Auto. Shipments past 90 million units. We talk about Grand Theft Auto at 10 or 12 million being like the pinnacle of the sim racing world. I don't know if since Grand Theft Auto's release, I don't know if every sim game automotive driving game combined equals 90 million units. So just to give you a perspective, the popularity, and just imagine the amount of money that makes. You guys do the math for me. 90 million times $60 per unit. That is just... that is amazing. Australasia gets its first direct-to-television esports studio. So we now have a studio purpose-built, just to broadcast what we do. Our gaming versions, esport, basically. You think about any professional sport that you watch on TV, and you have studios that are built, dedicated to that sport. And now we're seeing it for our sport, our world of gaming. I better get hustling along here before John Hill does show up. Gravel preview. So this is at psu.com, and it's a preview on Gravel. And this could be, this could be another one of those great Monday Fun Day games. I don't expect it to be a sim. Just looking at it, I could almost go out on a limb and call it Simcade at best, arcade at worst, and wrong wording. I don't mean best or worst. I just mean it is what it is, and you know, we've seen and love arcade versions as well. But if you want to read up more about the PS4 version of that, you can go over there to PSU. Next up, GT Planet has an article talking about yet another GT Sport update. It just blows my mind how much they're pushing and pushing, and to an extent, was this the plan? You know, I'd love to know the behind the scenes with Grand GT Sport. Did they just plan on releasing it and having constant updates and rollouts? Or did they rush to deliver and then wanted to do those to kind of catch up on it? Because again, when I first reviewed it, one of my thoughts was, this is a little light for GT Sport, for Gran Turismo. It was like a GT Light. And since they keep moving along. They keep growing on it. No, John Hill's already awake and on his way over here. He's coming over to swap out some pedals that he wants to trade me pedals. Anyway, next article, Real at Battalion. We've covered them a few times. So AMD, I'm using a set of headphones that have spatial audio right here, these Thrustmasters. And it's kind of interesting because with a conventional speaker set, you can get some surround type effects. It's a little echoey, in my opinion, but it does kind of give you some spatial audio. And these headphones actually have a soundboard that allows that to happen. I can't pull that up, it's down there. But AMD's new GPUs have this built in, and this is something that is being worked on, and something that might be able to enhance your audio through your GPU, which is quite a trip. But actually, you think about it, a lot of audio is driven through the GPU nowadays, it seems. Nope. Okay, no, I don't mind telling you guys. John right now is using the inverted Fanatec V3s, and he wants to use my Fanatec regular V3s that have that, oh, come on, Sean, brain fart, come on. Oh, now I'm going to have to go pull it up. That super resolution, super stiff mod. Oh, Tor. His name is Tor. And I can't remember. I'm going to have to go pull it out. I can't sit here being stupid. Oh. I wish I had a video to play you guys so I could go find it. Alright, hold on. Bear with me. I have to look it up now. Sorry. It was that super resolution mod for the Formula V3 pedals. Whoops. Actually, it's for any V3 pedals. Oh, come on, Sean. Bear with me. Finding it. Race Core 24. That's what it was. So he wants to use the Race Core 24 modded out Fanatec V3s, and so he's trading me the inverted for those, so to speak. Anyway, that's more on the background story. That's why he is coming out. Deval, I've done a couple that get you halfway there. Sorry, I'm reading you. We have some great conversation going on here. Bearing with Sean, roar. Super resolution. Okay, another story at PC Gamer. Man of the Year. I don't like to talk politics, and if I did, I'd probably anger a lot of people. But this is one politic discussion. Anyway, the FCC report uses old data to prove net neutrality repeal saved the internet. This jackass, I don't even remember his name. I need to find it. I can't remember his name. And if you guys want to be my hero, email this idiot and tell him that he's an idiot. But anyway, when they made that decision in order to make their argument, they decided, hey, we'll use some really old documents to make our argument for us on something as new age as the internet. But every day I am fearing what will happen with the internet, and especially here in the United States. And right here, I mean, you talk AT&T, Verizon, Frontier, Alaska Communications, all the corporate companies that run the networks here in America, they are not trustworthy companies, in my opinion. They're great companies to invest in if you're just talking selfish money, but they are not good companies. And this, yeah, Mr. Dick, Ajit Pai. That sounds like Mr. Dick. I ate pie. Anyway, this moron thought it would be a good idea to hand, something as important as the internet over to the companies and, basically let them sell it off, and maybe put people who can't afford better connections in lesser, slower connections. And, I very much think of the internet as a utility. So, to me, it's as critical as an important, certainly more important. I think it's more important than the cable for television. With the amount of information at your fingertips with the internet, I say it's more important than television, certainly for the intelligent. Anyway, this made me mad, and I thought I'd share that with you guys. And we're almost to the end. Sorry, I'm killing you guys. It is a long show today. One more article, and we talked about this, another set of Mr. Dicks. Vendors on Amazon are selling GPUs by the sixes now because of the cryptocurrency mining, people buying them up. And so when we talk about video card prices being obscene, there you go. There's why. Because I don't need 6. Sure, I'd love 3. I don't even need 3. But that's where we're at and why we're paying the price for it right now. Next up, someone sent this in, and I'm just going to play a little bit of it real quick. An event that went on, the Asian Le Mans series, and I'm just such a big fan of when you get people together, all, guys who maybe raced together online but haven't met. Sorry to bump the mic there. And here these guys are racing together. And, again, this is one of those win, lose, or draw. It doesn't matter. Getting to meet people that love doing what we do. I mean, why do we have so much fun with the pit stop each morning? Because we all get to talk about what we love. You go in person to any of these kind of events and you get to do the same thing. No one judges. It's so awesome. So I'm jealous of these guys having such a cool event. You can check out the video. Uh-oh. Someone's calling. Who's ruining the show with that rude interruption? Here's an article here at Paradigm Shift Driver Development. And I have to be honest, I've read various different things at this website. And it's a whole article talking about how real is sim racing. And it's a very favorable article for what we do every day. The Fanatec news, real quick, was the Mclaren wheel obviously has been delayed. They talked about electrostatic issues. They're looking at shipping in April. The podium wheelbase also having a few last-minute development issues, looking to be available in summer. And full implementation of the blue mode on the CSL Elite Racing wheel is in the works as well. So it's just an update on things for Fanatec. So we are with Paradigm, and that really takes us to the end of the show. So number one, a few things going on, and then I will bring it to a close. Number one, Mitchie Hoyer is going to be doing some iRacing Porsche on his channel. I have a link to that in the description of the show if you want to check that out and see some quality driving by one of the premier sim racing drivers on Earth. You can go check that out. Beyond that, today at about 2, I say about because these always are a little up in the air, we're going to do another one of those test and drives with Crew Chief Mitchie Hoyer watching over my shoulder in preparation of the Bad Hurt 12-hour, the Bathurst 12-hour race coming up. That's going to be up at about 2 o'clock. 6 o'clock, we will have our Sim Racing Series Laguna race in the McLaren F1 GTR. I have some graphics for some of these things. Why am I being so lazy? So we did a session yesterday with Mitchie. That was fun. I have a lot of work to do, and I am scared as can be when I am at Bathurst. It is a tough track, and doing it in endurance fashion is going to be a whole other thing when Mitchie starts asking me to push it harder on a track like that. Tonight will be our race at 6 p.m., our first race of the final week of the season. So that will be tonight at 6. The Mitchie thing will be at about 2 o'clock. Beyond that, this morning, the Wave Impetus review has finally come out. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, I forgot to put a link to that in the description of the show, but it is on YouTube, and you can check that out right now as well. Beyond that, actually, I think that pretty much takes it to the end of the show. So it's a lot to talk about. We're 30 minutes for today's pit stop. On one hand, I apologize for keeping you guys so long. On the other hand, I think it's awesome that we have so much to talk about, and it's so much fun doing it with all you guys. That's going to do it for today. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.